Also, just a quick note, I think you've seen the readout statement I just put out a few minutes ago, but I do want to reiterate it here from the podium that the Secretary did speak today over the phone with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to reiterate our serious concerns over the ongoing threats to the cessation of hostilities in Syria and the urgent need for the Assad regime to stop its violations of the cessation. And we talked a little bit about those violations yesterday. The Secretary and the Foreign Minister reaffirmed the importance of the preservation and solidification of the cessation of hostilities. And they both said that all parties needed to comply with the cessation. The Secretary said that the United States expected Russia to urge the regime to comply with the cessation and its requirements under it, and that we, the United States, would work with the opposition to do the same.
Go to Syria?
Yeah.
Real quick. Today, the High Committee that said that they are fine with having the Syrian regime being part of the transitional period or transitional government and so on. So is that, do you consider that to be a breakthrough? Is that a good thing? I mean, are we likely to have these talks now pick up steam?
I'm going to refrain from commenting on each and every utterance made out of Geneva. But let me. But just give me a second. We certainly are encouraged that we're now in day 3 of the next round here of talks, and that that they're moving forward. I want to refrain from again, making a judgment call on every day and every little bit of progress, but those comments are certainly they're encouraging. But we all recognize that there's a long way to go here. And there's an awful lot on the agenda to discuss. And one of the things that we would like to see discussed in this round is more particulars on the political transition, and more particulars in terms of a process at getting to a draft constitution. So we'd like to see that happen, and we're going to be monitoring as close as we can. Our special envoy, Mike Ratney, is out there, as he has been for the previous 2 rounds, and we're watching this as closely as we can.
So you don't see any of the the confrontations, let's say, in and around Aleppo, as being a hindrance in any way to these talks, especially now that the High Committee has.
We don't want it to be, which is one of the reasons why the Secretary raised it with Foreign Minister Lavrov today. I can't be perfectly predictive here to you and tell you that it absolutely will not impact or that it absolutely will. We don't want it to. We want the cessation to continue to hold, and it has been, by and large. There's a fragility there. I don't dispute that, and it is that fragility that the Secretary wanted to make sure he discussed with Foreign Minister Lavrov. And I would add again, as I put in the readout, both men agreed that there's a fragility here and that we need to keep working at it to keep it into play, keep it in place. But I can't be predictive in terms of what impact it might have.
Just to continue on the call there, the call in your readout of the call, Kerry calls on Lavrov to rein in the Syrian forces. Is it your position that the Russian forces are not involved in this offensive in Aleppo?
No, I didn't say that. He certainly, as I said yesterday, we know that some of the regime actions in and around Aleppo are being supported by Russian airstrikes. I mean, that's a matter of fact.
Did Secretary Kerry ask Lavrov for the Russians to stop striking around Aleppo?
He made it clear that we're concerned about the violence in and around Aleppo, and that and our concerns about reports, which we believe have credibility, that there are violations of the cessation happening in and around Aleppo. And to the degree that they're aided and abetted by Russian airstrikes, yes, that's a matter of concern for us. But as I said in the readout, he felt it was also important to make the point that we need Russia to continue to use their influence on the Assad regime to stop those violations. And he promised that we would do the same on our part for the opposition groups that we're supporting.